cost you. If you've looked at the bond ordinance and the resolution, you realize those are pretty technical documents, and they always are. But with utility revenue bonds, they're even more technical and big picture, and I don't want to get into too much detail. You're pledging only electric utility system revenues towards the payment of these bonds. And so bond holders, in this case, the bond insurer now, they care greatly about how you operate your utility. So you have some financial covenants that you would not have if it was a general obligation bond where you just promise to raise taxes and do whatever you have to do to pay them. So a lot of what's in the documents relates to that. The ordinance is pretty short. It's the formal document that authorizes the issuance of the bond, but we leave a lot of the detail to the resolution. But it did think I would hit high points and things you haven't been subject to on your electric utility operation for a few years. You'll now be subject to rate covenants, as an example. You are promising these bondholders that you will set your rates in a manner, two different tests here, that when you factor in your fund balances carrying over plus whatever you generate that year, you're going to cover your debt service 1.25 times. So the way this works is you have revenue, and the first thing you promise to pay are your operation and maintenance expenses. But then after that, you're telling bondholders you have first claim on this revenue after we've taken care of our expenses. So if you think in terms of fund balances, and let's say you start the year with $1 million, then you generate $3 million and you pay your O&M expenses, whatever is left has to cover your debt service 1.25 times. If you don't take into account your fund balances, then it's 1.0 time, one time. And you're probably going to carry some fund balances, and that's the reason we drafted this in this way. That a lot of times you'll see 1.25 times debt service coverage, just period. Meaning every year you're generating a 25% excess. And that's maybe a healthy way to operate, but if you start the year with a healthy fund balance, you don't want to be forced to raise rates just because in that particular year you were going to generate 1.2 times instead of 1.25 times. So again, you're going to need to comply with those things. Those are pretty standard, but I think because of the fund balances, you'll have maybe a little more flexibility than you otherwise would. So as I say, if you're in a place where you don't have a great year, if you have fund balances that you can count towards that calculation, you're not going to be forced to raise rates at a time when you don't want to raise rates just because you have one off year, just as an example.
And just because it's been a hot month and tempers are high and people have even come into the office today and been really unkind to our upfront staff about their electric bills, we haven't raised the electric rates in 2 years.
Right.
So there was no raising of rates this month. It just is a really hot month. Jamie?
Yeah, no, that's it. So it's all weather related, so.
Yeah. And of course, yeah, so. No.
So anyway, since we're talking about rates and we're issuing bonds without raising electric rates. And the reason that we are able to pay for the bonds, we were able to make the principal payments and the debt service payments, is because we had a purchase power agreement which was not advantageous. And it was 25 years long. It was a GRDA that expired this year. And so we're taking the money that we were saving from not having that disadvantageous purchase power agreement, and we're applying it to the new generators. And the new generators are desperately needed because they are replacing the 1964 antiquated steam unit.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's a really good point. This is different than, hey, we have to go spend a large amount of money and it's going to lead to something that's not status quo. We do have to raise rates because everything's going to be more expensive. This is kind of a status quo situation. We lost a power source, we're adding a power source through this, and the goal is to keep those rates the same. You know, I can't promise you're not going to have to raise rates at some point, but as Gina said, that this isn't going to be that reason in 2 or 3 years. I mean, operation and maintenance will go up and all of those things. So as you go along, you'll have to meet these covenants. You just had your audit report. If you didn't meet one of those covenants, your auditor will catch that and report it. Not a lot of teeth to failing to meet the coverage requirement at the outset. It'll get noted in your audit, and you have to get a consultant's report and make a determination about, do we need to do something different? But it's not as if failing to meet the coverage test is going to immediately throw you into a bond default. It just leads to, oh, we need to consider maybe raising rates at that point, and it has nothing to do with the bonds per se. It's just overall revenue generation relative to your entire system. While we're talking about coverage, the other place this sort of test shows up is if you want to issue additional debt against your electric utility system revenue stream in the future, there are similar tests. So think about bondholders right now purchasing these bonds. They're the only bonds payable from your electric utility system revenues. They're first in line. If 5 years from now you need to issue bonds again, that's different than things were when they invested in these bonds, and so they need some protection, and they push for that protection. And so we have those tests, and again, you need to be meeting those coverage tests that I just mentioned, both on your existing bonds, these bonds, plus any additional debt that you would issue in the future, and that way you leave bondholders in the same place they would have been otherwise. So again, you'll have the flexibility to issue bonds in the future, but you'll have to meet some financial covenants. Again, if you look through this, we create some funds and accounts. Project fund, that's where most of the bond proceeds will go, out of which you'll pay for all of the project costs. There's a debt service account. There's a reserve account that instead of depositing cash in it, which would, I don't want to say typical, but maybe more frequently, you just put a sum of cash in there. It just sits as a reserve for a rainy day. If you have a bad year, you hit that reserve. Stiefel investigated, determined that it would be cheaper to buy a surety bond. So like bond insurance you have, this is something similar, but it's in the reserve. So that would get hit first. You would draw on a surety bond if you had a shortfall in your debt service and you needed to hit the bond reserve. So just another layer, and instead of depositing, I mean, in this case, it would probably be something close to $2 million as a reserve. It's going to cost you in the tens of thousands in premium, and you don't have to, and that money just sits there. You can't put it to use. Hopefully investment rates are such that you can earn a nice return on it, but pretty efficient way right now to handle that. So again, another really technical thing, and the bond insurer who's providing both of those also really cares about all these financial covenants. So they'll want to get your audit report. They're going to monitor those things. Bondholders are always going to get paid now, either by you or the bond insurer. And if it's the bond insurer, then the term is subrogated. You then owe them money. They become the bondholder because they paid your bondholder. So that's how that works. That will never happen. You've got a healthy utility system. The coverage is fantastic, and so that's all good news. And the only other thing I always like to touch on is federal tax implications. As long as you use these facilities for your governmental purposes, that results in tax exempt bonds. That's why you can get the good interest rate. If anything ever changed, if you entered into a contract in the future where you were going to sell all of the output from these 6 generators to some new business that's coming to the data center.
Whoa.
It's just an example. I know. Or attempted humor. But a big user.
You don't know our social media page.
Well, it's you and every other city in the country right now. But again, a big user that said, we will pay you a premium if we can just take all of the output from those 6 generators and leave them on all of the time, then that becomes something that looks less governmental and more private, and we want to talk about that and see if it changes the tax exempt status of your bond. But other than that, on a going forward basis, you don't have to worry about much. Just make sure you don't have those output contracts. Make sure you're meeting your financial covenants with which your finance officer, your auditor will help with that. And again, it's been a long time since you had any debt on this utility system. It was pretty healthy and this all looks affordable. And so I will stop there. Again, if you browse through these documents, it's pretty technical stuff, and I understand that, but again, it's a more complicated issue with bond insurance and a limited revenue stream.
So Jamie, I'm just gonna wanna make sure you're comfortable. We're gonna save money by getting out of the GRDA contract, and that'll be enough money to pretty much offset this bond payment, and we won't raise rates.
Absolutely.
And that's what I thought.
Yeah, actually, last week, I know everybody in town's complaining about their bills.
Sure.
Well, we also get a bill that we purchased off the grid. And when it came in last week, I about flipped out because I had never seen it that high. So instantly, I was on the phone with Tier and blah, 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 and they said, hey, listen, if you had your GRD right now, you'd be paying twice that much. So I said, oh. They said, you guys are buying a lot of power, but you're also selling a lot of power right now. So it goes hand in hand. Evan was actually today, I was going to send them some information from our past year with GRDA, and Tier was going to kind of lay it out for me so they could see, hey, here's what you're saving this last year since we dropped it in April. So it really hadn't even been a full year yet. So.
Well, I think what I'm seeing between the lines is we're in a good position
Absolutely.
to do this
So-
at this time.
So when GRDA was brought on board 25 years ago, at that time, the city thought that was the best thing for us. They expected electric rates to skyrocket more than they had, and actually it went the other direction, so that was why getting out from under it was a blessing. So we can do these improvements with the savings that we're doing. So revenues are still going the same direction, just we're not spending as much. So that makes sense.
And remember also that the steam unit requires a much larger workforce than the cat generators do. So already Jamie has reduced the number of employees at the power plant by 5 in the last couple of years.
Yeah, we were 5 down from the last 3 years maybe, so.
And the intention going forward is through attrition, not through layoffs or anything, but through attrition, reducing that further by 2 more. So there's enough, and the technical knowledge to run the steam unit is much higher. And the people who know how to run that, Brian Evans is one of them, he's here. But he's one of the few and far between that really still know how to run it. And Brian doesn't work in power plant anymore, so. So anyway, the knowledge is going away, and the workforce will be reduced.
And that also, if I'm correct, Jamie, won't that help us now, once we get the cats in, we won't have a person at the power plant at night, or do we
We're
still?
working on that too. We got a lot of things going on, and hopefully our automation will be done, I hope this fall, in the next several months. But when that does happen, we'll only have a crew during the day, so we won't have a night shift, which is a whole other savings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the behind the scenes work by Stiefel is unbelievable if you try to read all this. So thank you for doing all that.
And Gilmoreville.
And Gilmoreville, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but I don't want to take
I
credit
didn't
for
want to-
the long documents if you don't like reading those long documents. But yeah, and again, just to add to the discussion, this is the third, I think, in the last year, generation project I've worked on with Kansas Cities, and I think a lot of you probably entered into the power purchase contracts at about the same time and are realizing coming out of that period of time, maybe we could do this more efficiently on our own, and so we'll add some generation. It had been a long time since I'd worked on a bond issue to add electric generation, and now it's like 3 in 1 year. So that should give some credence to, yes, we are swapping out and kind of keeping up with the times and more efficiencies and paying for things that way.
Okay. Any other questions for Kevin? Okay. All right. With that being said, I guess just kind of
You'll do a roll call vote for each one, correct? The ordinance and the resolution?
Ordinance, definitely.
Okay.
Resolution.
I mean, you can do it on the resolution as well. I'm not gonna.
Might as well.
Okay, let's just, I'll make the motion, of course. I'd like to make a motion that we approve of the utility bond ordinance 2611, provide for the issuance of principal amount electric utility system revenue bond series 2026 of the city of Pratt, Kansas, making certain covenants and agreements to provide for the payment and security thereof, and the authorizing certain other documents and actions in connection therewith. Second. It's been moved and seconded that we approve of the utility bond ordinance 2611. Any other discussions? Okay,
Roll call.
roll call. Do I do it or you?
You do.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Commissioner Hostetler?
Yes.
Commissioner Myers?
Yes.
Commissioner Siemens?
Yes.
Commissioner Blankenship?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, 5-0. Okay, I'll then make the motion that we approve of Resolution 081726-C, a resolution prescribing the form and details of the authorizing and directing the sale and delivery of the electric utility system revenue bond series 2026 of the city of Pratt, Kansas, previously authorized by ordinance number 2611 of the issuer, making certain covenants and agreements to provide for the payment and security thereof, and authorizing certain other documents and actions connected therewith.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve Resolution 081726C as presented. Commissioner Hostetler.
Yes.
Commissioner Myers.
Yes.
Commissioner Siemens.
Yes.
Commissioner Blankenship.
Yes.
And I'm a yes, 5-0. Okay, perfect.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alrighty, now moving on to 6.4, consideration of Resolution 081726-A, Oktoberfest at Lemon Park. Mr. Dakota Holtgreave.
Good afternoon. Here to formally request permission from the city to host our 2026 event, September 26th from 5 to 10 p.m. in Lemon Park. And also, we did provide a resolution seeking permission to be able to have alcohol at that event this year. I'm very grateful. We started this event in 2016. We had to take a break, COVID year, so this will be our 9th year. Our average attendance has typically been, on a good weather year, been north of 400 of individuals, that many from outside of our community that attend. Conservative estimate, every year we have about 30 to 35 business sponsors that help make this event possible. We're incredibly grateful to the business community in Pratt and all of our sponsors. But over the years, at the end of every year, we make donations back to lots of organizations in Pratt. So in the past 9 years, conservatively, we've given back about $90,000 back to the Pratt community. Most of that has gone to Pratt Rotary Club, which we have a matching grant program. So we give $4,000 to $5,000 to Rotary every year. They match it dollar for dollar. And the Rotary Club has a grant program that's been used on things like some of the, in partnership with other organizations, like some of the playground equipment and things you'll see in the parks. We donate to the Pratt Food Bank, Hope Center. Every year we're grateful to Lemon Park, so we call it the Lemon Park Tree Planting Initiative. We try to buy 2 or 3 trees a year. And many, many other organizations. So this is a community event. It is an adult 21 and older, so it's an adult-only event. But really the concept is just to get out, be neighborly, meet and talk with people in our community and build relationships. And if you have any questions, I'd be grateful to try to answer those.
Dakota, I think you guys do a great job every single year. I think it's great that it's in Lemons Park, especially with all the trees and the shade, so. But I always think you guys do a great job with it every single year.
Thank you.
It's a good event.
Yeah.
Dakota, what was the date on that?
September 26th.
Okay, and what time do you want the park closed?
The event's from 5 to 10 p.m., so maybe 4:30.
Okay.
Be great. I
What-
will note one other thing that's unique to this year, so, kind of the theme of Pratt Sports Tourism. We are now, the Pratt Oktoberfest is an official U.S. Stein Holding Association state tournament. So if you win that tournament, you get to go on to the state finals, and then eventually to the national championship in Cleveland, Ohio. So last year we did have a couple people from Texas and other areas that actually drove here to specifically participate in that event.
Cool.
So put that on everybody's radar.
Yeah. So Dakota, what time do you guys plan on setting up again? Around noon or earlier?
We always set up the day before.
Okay.
So we'll set up on Friday evening into Saturday morning, and then tear down. The PCC wrestling team helps us. We'll set up and tear down. We'll tear down and have it all cleaned up by early afternoon on Sunday.
Perfect. Okay. Regina, any concerns with the resolution at all? Okay. And then Chief, any concerns at all? Okay. All right. Make a motion.
I'll move that we approve resolution 081726 for Oktoberfest in Menlo Park on September 26th.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve resolution 081726-A for Oktoberfest at Lemon Park for Saturday, September the 26th of 2026. Any other discussions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dakota.
Thank you, Dakota. All right, moving on to now 6.5, consideration of resolution 081726-B, allowing alcohol at the municipal building for a private event. Ms. Sarah Skaggs, I would like the clerk to note that I will be abstaining from this vote due to my personal relationship with Ms. Skaggs.
Hello, I'm Sarah Skaggs, and I am getting married on October 10th, and my reception is at the municipal building, and I would like to serve alcohol there. I'll sell it. We hired a company called The Bars Open out of Wichita to serve the alcohol and also ID people. They have a liquor license and also a liability insurance. And I also plan to have an off-duty police officer there attending as well. So I would like your permission to have alcohol at my wedding.
So if I can just remind the commission that we've discussed the municipal building before, that because of how permanent it is, it's not a street or a park, you actually don't have to approve every single event that has alcohol at the municipal building. However, in the past, you've said that, and the commission may have changes, but at the time, the commission said that they still wanted the ability to vote on every event that has alcohol at the municipal building. So I think that tonight you may have more than one resolution before you. So just so that you keep that in mind. At any point, you can say, when it comes to the municipal building, we have already exempted that from the state law that prohibits alcohol being used on government property. If you ever come to a point where you just want staff to make that determination, you can let us know that. But in the meantime, because we are doing what you've asked us to do, Sarah's here to bring that request to you.
Chief Wright, do you have any concerns at all?
No, I don't know. Have you contacted our department on the off-duty officer yet, or are you using somebody else,
The
or?
off-duty officer is Austin Stats, who's actually my cousin,
Okay.
who I hope has taken off work to be there.
I hope so too.
If not, I'll find somebody else.
Justin, any concerns?
I don't have any concerns as long as they're all tied up on the legal end with the city side. I'm good with it. No problems.
Also, just putting it out there, we have had some events at some other city facilities that have not been exempt, the community center. We've had some events there, and people brought alcohol and left a huge mess. And so we may discuss a deposit when we do alcohol-related events. That's just something that Justin and I have not gotten together and talked about yet.
And this is all inside the building.
Yes, all inside. It's outside, it's not something I know about.
You ready for a motion?
Yes, yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
laugh. I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 081726B, allowing alcohol at the municipal building for a private event.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve resolution 081726-B, allowing alcohol at the municipal building for a private event. Any other discussions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And I abstain. Okay, passes 4-0.
Thank you.
You're welcome. By the way, who's marrying you off?
Wyatt Cole.
Who's marrying you off?
Oh, crap.
Who has the honor of marrying you and Wyatt?
My brother-in-law, Kyle Farmer.
Oh, boy.
I know, right? I just wanted the record to show that.
I'm not- I don't have to put
No,
that
I'm
on.
ordained. Yeah, they couldn't find anyone else, so they asked me. So.
Jamie Huber's available.
All right, now moving on to 6.6, consideration of ordinance allowing alcohol at 3rd Street in front of the municipal building. Mr. Greg Hansen.
Good evening. Thanks for hearing us. I'm Greg Hansen, here on behalf of the board of the Pratt Public School Foundation, and we're asking for an exemption to allow for consumption of alcohol in front of the municipal building, basically. As written in the draft here, we've said between Jackson Street and Main Street, just to keep things simple. The Pratt Public School Foundation, we exist to support educators and students in USD 382. We do that by awarding small grants to teachers for things, educational purposes that are kind of outside what the district might provide. And so the bike race, the open range gravel race, is one of our primary ways to raise money. We support that race at the end of April, and then in turn, we get a nice donation back from them. So we're part of the race, we're trying to do some enhancements to it as well to make it more of a community event. So we've got we've invited the Yum 56 ice cream truck in for next year. We've got a barbecue food truck there. The organizer has a band as well. And so we just think it would be nice, we're there all day supporting the race anyway. We thought, well, why not try to sell some beer and make some money from the participants as they come back in from the race. So knowing that the inside of the municipal building is already exempt, but the race happens outside. The finish line is right there. The band is outside. The food truck is outside. It would be nice if we could make some money from the participants and any townspeople that come, and then they could go outside with their adult beverage and watch the actual finish of the race. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. And then we drill down to the details when we come back to the resolution before the race happens in April. So this is just kind of the first step to see if it's possible that we could allow that to happen outside. I think it would also benefit just going forward, any other groups or have something going on. That's a good section of the street that if somebody else wanted to do something, then this would be in good shape for them.
So looking at the map here, Greg, it's going to kind of be where I'm assuming BTI is at and the nail salon, or am I looking at?
No,
That's the wrong.
Oh, I'm looking at, okay, I'm looking at the other
No,
one.
we're looking just 3rd Street.
Okay.
There is the limitation for the setback from Liberty Middle School was
200.
Yeah. So by saying the east side of Jackson, that gets us far enough away from the school that that's not an issue. And of course, when we do the resolution and actually cordon off where it's going to be, we make sure that we're the proper distance away.
Okay.
So where, like the wedding, they'll have the alcohol consumption in the municipal building. How are you going to keep it within?
The designed area?
Yeah, how?
Yeah, and that's, I think, when we get to the resolution part of it, we nail that down a little bit better, but I would envision, barricades or a taped off area, something like that. Yeah, we definitely want to make sure that we've got it enclosed. We monitor for that.
Our volunteers going to monitor making sure people don't leave that barrier area?
Yeah. We do, wristbands to verify the age. So we're just trying to, kind of grow the event, make it a little bit more of a community-wide thing, maybe get more people downtown to enjoy it. We've got, over 300 people sign up for it every year, so that's a lot of out-of-towners coming in. If we can entice them to stick around town a little bit more, maybe have dinner or spend the night, then it's a good thing. So it would benefit us, we'd raise a little bit of money off of it, and hopefully benefit the town too.
So this is the exact same, the ordinance that I put at each of your desks, and there's extra copies for any audience members that want all I did was I added, obviously in the heading, that we were exempting West 3rd Street between the east boundary of South Jackson Street and the west boundary of South Main Street. And then at that last whereas, before the actual ordinance language, and then in the ordinance language, paragraph 4, we just separated, we had the East 4th Street, which was already exempted as subsection A, and then we added subsection B, which is West 3rd Street.
And that east, did you say east or west 4th?
East 4th Street between the east boundary of South Main Street and the west boundary of South Denniscott Street. We did that for the Pratt Jamboree several years ago.
That's what I was about to ask. Chief Wright, concerns or opinion?
No, just it was brought up about the containment of it.
Okay. Do you feel comfortable with the containment and?
Yeah.
They'll also have to provide boundaries and a map to get a liquor license anyway, if they're doing sales. So the state of Kansas will audit that prior to issuing a license.
Any other questions? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the consideration of ordinance 2612, allowing alcohol at 3rd Street in front of the municipal building.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve ordinance 2612, allowing alcohol at 3rd Street in front of the municipal building. Any other discussions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, passes.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I gotta tell you, that's quite the description on where this all is gonna be.
Well, so I think you're looking at the legal description of Lemon Park. That's all that word. Oh, no, that's the Green Sports Complex. So yeah, the Green Sports Complex is complicated. Lemon Park is even more voluminous. Pratt Municipal Building is small, but then this is all.
Gotcha.
All right, we're going to move to 6.7 now. Consideration of road closure of Jack Street between 4th and 5th and resolution 081726-D for the Philly Fest on Thursday, September the 3rd. Ms. Hanson.
We're kind of an alcohol-related family here.
Yeah.
To talk a little bit about the Philly Fest. The Philly Fest, we're in our 3rd year, and it is simply, I guess, an awareness raiser and a friend raiser, and hopefully a community gatherer event for the Philly Fest, the Vernon Philly Art Museum. We do not charge entry. It is open to everyone. This year, we are having a secured little area where we have food vendors. We'll have 2 food vendors, a beverage cart, and an area that's quadrant off to say 21 and older in here. No alcohol beyond this point. That is for the food service around lunchtime. The Philly Festival will actually start at 5 p.m. It will host a music truck, 5 community interest booths, and 17 individual artists that are displaying their wares. There's no charge for any of the people to come and set up at the festival. We do not make any money off of this. It is strictly a familiarity and a community raiser. We would like to have permission, however, if you would take it under consideration, for whenever the actual event happens, we will close off the road between 4th and 5th Street. This year we've pulled it back. In the past, we've had it going into Merchants Park, and there was a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of school traffic that needs to come through there. So this year, our committee decided that we would only close off the portion of the street on Jackson between 4th and 5th. The library has graciously considered to work with us. They're going to allow the tornado snow mobile to come there. We have a cotton candy vendor, and we will have face painting in that area. We've talked to Dylan Omar, who owns the car repair shop. They're open until 6 now, and so we've worked with him to develop a map for egress of all of the vehicles that are in there for service. But at 5 p.m. there would be a Southwest truck pulled across Jackson Street at the 5th Street entrance, so that will provide secure entry there. We would like permission to barricade off the alleyways on each end. Although our event doesn't go into that alleyway yet, because it is kind of a smaller event, we would like to close those off to vehicular traffic and allow only emergency traffic. We've also talked with CL Meg's company, BTI, all of the surrounding businesses, and close off the entry at Main Street into the parking area that's behind in that block. That way it creates kind of a secure environment for people walking around. We do have a designated kids zone, and lots of vendors. We'd like to make it just as secure as we could for people walking around. We have an emergency plan, and the library has graciously offered that if we have any bad weather or we have to move inside for any reason, the library will host it. We have 2 entry points on Jackson Street, one at the library and one at the Philly Museum, where people have to come into the area. So what I'm here tonight asking is if we can close that off and have permission to do so, and the use of barricades. Also, if we could, we would like to have consideration, if this area is closed and is secured, if we could have permission to take adult beverages and walk around in the vendor area. And that goes back to the resolution that we just did.
Well, the problem, Karen, is that we don't have South Jackson Street as an exemption on the ordinance. So do you know what I mean?
Yes,
So we have certain areas that are exempted. So is the ask that we amend the ordinance to include those streets?
I did not know that. I just did a resolution to see if we could walk around in the area. But we also have a backup plan for keeping it secure, knowing that, this might require something else. I know our vendor would apply for a Kansas permit, which would include, doing the map of everything else, and we do have the maps available.
Sure. So the alcohol on public property has 2 steps. The ordinance tells people and organizations where there's been an exemption from state law, so where you can have the alcohol, which is why Greg and John were working to get that section of 3rd Street exempted, and then the resolution is for the specific event that will have the alcohol. And this is our last meeting before.
Yeah, we won't have another one till after Labor Day.
Okay. So I don't know what to do, because Jackson Street, I don't have an opinion on whether or not we should exempt. I mean, I always want to support the Philly. It's just not written into the ordinance right now.
So you're talking about pulling a big truck there in Jackson, and how will emergency vehicles get in and out?
For the actual street,
Yeah,
we would have to come in from the north for that. Or one of the other areas that we would have barricaded off, but could still have vehicular traffic. We just felt like that would secure that end a little bit better where the food trucks are. We could leave it open and just have barricades as well.
So Gina, with the ordinance, do we have to go back and make a motion to amend it to add Jackson Street or whatever we need to add?
And you would need to give me the exact language that you want.
we can't do like a specific event one time, or, I'm assuming if
If it's-
you want to do it again and again, so.
Yeah.
If it's just on the private property and barricaded there with the alcohol, does that allow for the resolution and not an ordinance?
If it's on the private property.
It's muffler shop, Montai has graciously donated that for the entire day, the whole space.
It's not allowed on public sidewalks.
The
That'd
food
be
trucks would
correct.
actually be on the sidewalk. It would be inside of the area.
Okay.
But the alcohol's on private property?
If the alcohol is on private property, I think that's fine.
Okay.
It's public, the prohibition is public, streets, alleyways, parks,
Right.
sidewalks.
But private property,
Correct.
Where's the private property? Which-
The maps that are in your
Yeah.
packet.
So-
Oh,
so when looking at it, so you said it's gonna be on the,
200 feet.
it's gonna be on the muffler property or?
Yes,
They can't use it at the front of the building.
south of
It's inside of 200, they have to go all the way inside.
Beverly Stoll,
Okay,
Nicolay and Haas.
so the Tipsy Turtle is the alcohol?
Yes. Nick and Tiffany Parker here.
Okay.
as well.
The municipal building is outside of that 200 feet, so this facility should be outside of that 200 feet from the
Pulled
school.
measuring tape and-
But the Pettigo building sits closer than Liberty does, and that's part of the USD.
We pulled a tape and just unofficially, not officially, but it was 250 feet to the sidewalk in front of Nicholas Beverlyn Stoll
All the way to Pettigo or?
from Pettigo.
Okay.
But they can't be basically in the front yard of the Philly, that's too close.
But they're talking about the muffler shop.
Okay.
So the muffler shop is.
It's the green area, correct?
Right.
That's a muffler shop.
No, the muffler shops for up,
Okay.
it says
Tornadoes?
tornadoes.
So ours isn't color coded, or.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, the tornado snow is over by the library, but the muffler shop is on the other end of the map and it sets back in.
Yeah, I got it, but that's actually where they got the tornado.
Snow.
That's what's throwing me off, is so the Tornado Sons is near the muffler and the Tipsy Turtle's in the alleyway behind like BTI and all
I
that.
apologize, you have a different map. We have
Okay.
confined it in that area knowing that this might be.
Okay, so Tornado and Sons is like near the library,
It
right?
will be in front of.
Okay, but the Tipsy Turtle will be right there on private property in
Yes,
the,
and then the two trucks, so all of the services will open into the area that is enclosed by the trailers and the muffler shop. So there won't be anybody coming up on the outside, they will have to come into an area to get food and beverages.
The alley would be public property though.
And the alley is,
That's a city right of way, yeah. So that's probably.
So, yeah.
thank you. Our printer quit working.
oh,
Okay, so this is Jackson Street, and this is, if we do it that way, that would be Warrington. So City's Turtle would be right here. and yours would be
It's on page 153, but it sounds like the map might be outdated.
yeah.
Ours is out of date, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, you just can't have it.
There's two maps. There's another map on 154, but it looks the same to me
kind of assumed that this was.
as far as the boundaries.
But after my husband's request,
I didn't realize that you were part of the Philly.
We're just the Tipsy Turtle.
Oh,
Yes,
that's-
I would like to, yeah, we can.
This is completely different. Totally different, because it's, so
Okay.
all these right here are now over here.
area is right here.
Okay.
So we would pull those in and all of the services.
This is the muffler.
We do have a public
This is Philly.
Okay, that makes more sense on our map.
There's Philly.
No, that's just to make sure.
So they did it from the sidewalk, just the sidewalk.
No, that makes more, it makes more sense now.
So what would you like?
It's not like-
For you.
It is, because we're gonna do it across the street.
You're combining so it wouldn't seem.
Just,
Not this time, but what we're working, all of our vendors are out in this area, and so we're thinking if they could walk around. But we,
Yeah.
we'll come back on that, but,
Okay.
okay.
Okay. So Gina, what would be the best, or,
What do we do?
yeah, what do we do here?
Well, so we just need to close the street. The
That's all.
alcohol is going to be confined to private property. So the alcohol's not an issue this year.
Right, but,
So you are gonna have to take out that second to last paragraph on that resolution.
Okay.
which one?
which one?
Oh, on the front page of the resolution.
So resolution,
So it's, be it further resolved, the Philly Museum will be allowed to offer for the sale and consumption of alcoholic liquor at the Philly Fest 2026 on Thursday, September 3rd, 2026, between the hours of 5 and 7 p.m. Because you're not giving permission for that, it's not on a public property. You're just agreeing to close the streets.
So do we need to delete the whereas up above it talking about alcohol?
there it is, okay. Okay, so take out be further resolved.
What about the whereas up there?
I see that.
The last whereas.
The last whereas?
Well, there's four, it's the third one.
Third and fourth, both discuss alcohol consumption on public property.
You're right, number one.
Third and the fourth? Gotta make sure we do this by the book.
I appreciate that.
I'm sorry, next year.
No, this lays the groundwork, because we weren't even sure, up until a few days ago, exactly what we were doing, so this really does help us, I'm sorry.
So now we're ready.
I think, Gina, are we ready for a motion?
Yep, so you're just be clear that you'll modify the resolution, you know, to delete the third and fourth whereas, and to delete.
Be it for the first, be it further resolved.
Correct.
Okay.
And,
And the title.
Title.
you know what, I'll tell you what you really need to do. I wouldn't do a resolution, I would just make a motion to close the street for the Philly Fest on the day and time.
And not worry about a resolution?
You always close the street for the Philly Fest.
Okay.
Lawyers,
Sean?
Yes, that's fine.
All right, we'll make this easier, so.
I would make a motion that we approve closing Jackson Street between 4th and 5th on September 3rd for the Philly activity.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the closure of Jackson Street between 4th and 5th for September the 3rd of 2026 for the Philly Festival. Any other discussions?
It's 5 to 7:30 p.m.
From 5 to 7:30 p.m., thank you. Any other discussions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yep, there you go.
I'll have somebody new come next year.
Okay, moving on, we are going to kind of put in our addition now, 6.8 discussion of our golf ordinance, Mr. Terry Williamson. And by the way, congratulations, Terry, on your victory from the primary.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners, for allowing me to speak today. I'm here to talk about the golf carts here in the city limits of Pratt. I'm here to ask the City Commission reconsider the city's restriction on operating properly equipped golf carts after sunset and before sunrise. I want to make one thing very clear, that I'm not asking the city to eliminate any safety regulations. I'm only asking the city to use reasonable safety regulations instead of absolute prohibition. Kansas law already addresses this issue under KSA 8-15-108. Golf carts may be operated within city streets when authorized by the city. And Kansas statute specifically provides for operations between sunset and sunrise when the golf carts are equipped with required lighting and properly mounted slow-moving vehicle implements. So the state has already recognized this as properly equipped golf cart can be operated safely at night. The question before the commission is whether Pratt wants to allow the operation for reasonable local regulations. My golf cart is registered. It is insured, equipped with headlights, taillights, turn signals, mirrors, horns, and other safety equipment, including seat belts and that sort of thing. I'm not asking to drive an unregulated vehicle around town in the dark. I'm asking to operate a vehicle that's already been properly equipped and registered under the rules established by the city. I also believe that we need to look at this issue consistently. We have electric bikes running around town, electric scooters operating throughout the community, including after dark, without headlights, without registration, without all of that safety stuff. Many of these vehicles are subject to the same registration and inspection requirements that the golf carts are. I'm not saying we should prohibit these vehicles. I'm saying that the safety should be the standard. We should apply these safety standards consistently. If the city's concern is visibility, require headlights, taillights, brake lights, those sort of things that we already do. And then going further here, I do understand the chief of police, his concerns. I know does not agree with any of this stuff. I do respect that, and the chief's job is to identify potential safety problems, and I don't take these concerns lightly. But I do believe the commission's job is to balance these concerns with the rights and the needs of the citizens of Pratt. This blanket prohibition is the easiest rule to enforce, but it doesn't necessarily make it the best rule. I would ask the commission to consider the pilot program to amend the ordinance allowing properly registered, insured golf carts to operate after sunset and before sunrise when they meet specific equipment and safety requirements. If the city wants to have additional safeguards, I'm willing to discuss them. It's just simple. Don't regulate the vehicle based solely on what it's called, regulate it based on how safely it is equipped and operated. Kansas has already established framework in nighttime golf cart operation. Pratt has the authority to obviously decide whether to authorize it. I do believe that Pratt can protect public safety without unnecessarily restricting responsible citizens who are willing to register, insure, equip, and operate their golf carts responsibility. As many of you know, I live on Nenaskal. That's where my business is. I have a laundromat. I get calls all hours of the night. Sometimes somebody's laundry's stuck in there or my machine ate their money. It's easier for me just to hop on the golf cart, run down there, and get their laundry out or whatever. Sometimes people have a crash in the middle of the night. They need a rental car. I have rental cars. I just buzz right up Nenaskal. Also, my wife, she's on the Master Gardener, which takes care of all the planters on Main Street. The best time to work with the planters, especially when it's 108, is after the sun goes down. So we drive down Main Street and we pull the flags. We put up whatever she's doing with the planters. I feel like this is a reasonable request. I've already talked to Regina about this. I had talked to our previous intern police chief, and we didn't really see much of a problem. I know our current police chief is not really for this. However, I feel like when properly equipped, they have the same things that a motor vehicle does, including a VIN, a tag. Why are we requiring headlights to get it before it's registered when we can't even drive it after dark? So I'm asking the city commission to adopt the state statute.
So I appreciate Terry coming and exercising his citizen duty or his rights to discuss this with you. I do want to make sure that I am supporting our chief of police though. And I think when Terry and I first talked about it, I said, well, the last chief of police, the chief of police who was in place at the time the ordinance was written, was very clear. He didn't want any of these on the street at all. And so then, as a compromise, we wrote the ordinance so that they wouldn't be on the street after sundown. And so I do feel like my job is to listen to our department heads, and I would like you to hear from
Yeah.
Ken as well. But so, a previous chief of police did not agree with having them after dark, and Ken doesn't agree with having them after dark. Austin Parker, who has visited us several times as a visiting city attorney, has said that he has a number of cities that he is the city attorney for. And he said most of them don't allow the golf carts on the street after dark. Sean, what is your experience?
Yeah, and I did some research before we got in here. City of Wichita, same thing. After dark, till they don't allow them. And then I did some smaller jurisdictions too, and they all seem to be kind of along all the same lines. After dark and before sunrise, they're not allowed.
Thank you. Can you express to the commissioners why you're opposed to that?
Certainly. Quite honestly, I'm opposed, period, as the previous chief was, to them being on the roadways day or night. And part of that reasoning is they're not built to take impacts. If a car hits a golf cart, you've got a little aluminum frame or whatever, there's no airbags. They're not impact resistant frames. The standard golf carts that a lot of people have, the older ones, they do sit lower, so their lighting is lower. So at night, that's gonna make that a little more difficult to see when that lighting is this high off the ground, as opposed to a motor vehicle when their lighting's 18 to 24 inches off the ground. So there's more of a chance of not being seen and an incident happening after dark because it's not lit as well or sitting up as high. And again, traveling at night, a pickup or an SUV or even a car versus a golf cart, I understand it can happen at both times, daylight or night, but I just see it as a hazard, and just my opinion on it.
So where do we stand on electric bikes going at night and going up and down the sidewalk, like on Main Street?
Electric bikes, we don't have an ordinance designed to look at that. I have been paying attention to other communities, some comparable size, some a little smaller. Some of those have gone to the electric bikes that you need to have a driver's license and be at least 16 years old.
Is the most recent STO, does that address it, the standard traffic ordinance, does it address the electric bikes at night?
Or even those electric scooters?
Yeah, it's just as bad. I mean,
Yeah.
because those kids go flying down the street. That's, I think, something we need to look at in the near future.
I agree.
There was somebody hit yesterday in Leawood or today in Leawood, 13 years old, hit on a scooter, and the kids, as adults, we learned we've got to look when we're coming to an intersection. But I watch these kids, they come to a street and they're on the sidewalk and they don't even pay attention, they just shoot straight across. So we do need to start looking at an ordinance on those as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely in agreement with you, Terry, that we need to, the electric bikes and the electric scooters, they've become very popular in the last year or two. And so now that we see that there's an issue, we definitely need to address it.
And unfortunately, the state level hasn't recognized it yet, and unfortunately, it's gonna take tragedies like happened yesterday, and I know there was one last week or the week before. There was another one up Leavenworth, I believe, somewhere up there. And it's unfortunately gonna take a few incidents before the state steps on, so I think we need to get an ordinance in place.
So concerning Terry's, I have no doubt Terry would drive it responsibly at night.
But you're looking at it as a whole, I get it.
Yeah.
Others,
And I use
have
mine
more
as a tool,
question.
Yeah.
and so,
And the safety, motorcycles are even more exposed than golf carts, and they do drive.
Sure.
My tendency is to defer to the new chief, just out of respect for him taking office. I can be swayed.
Yeah.
If
No,
you guys have a strong opinion.
No, I agree. Terry, I appreciate it. I get it. You would be a responsible person, but the unfortunate side is not everyone's responsible and everything like that. I was reading an article, speaking of golf carts, a drunk driver hit a golf cart and killed a bride in there. And again, I'm not saying that could happen. I hope that never happens here in Pratt, but, I defer to our department heads that, I have to trust them and and support them.
so my question is then, why, if the scooters don't have to have tags and insurance, why do the golf carts? Why is the city getting our $25 and all that? Now, I'm gonna insure mine because I have things that I can lose. And so, my question is why do they have to be tagged then?
Well, the state statute requires that they have insurance and they have to have a driver's license. I don't think
Yes.
the statute requires them to be tagged on those.
I don't see anything. I didn't fully read the KSA, but I don't believe that it has.
I think that it's more for our local law enforcement to be able to keep track of which, it's also inspection. You know, you inspect the golf cart when you get the tag.
Yes.
But why does it need headlights?
The statute requires it to have headlights.
Headlights even though you can't drive it at night?
Am I incorrect? On the STO?
I'd have to look at it.
Headlights are even required on vehicles if it's raining.
Yep, he's got it.
Your windshield wipers, you have to turn your headlights on.
As required by law, yeah.
I think it's a work in progress, and I agree with Monty, out of respect for the new chief, and I appreciate the homework you did, Sean, for other communities that have done it. It seems silly you can't hop in your golf cart and look and fix a problem and go back home, but.
And there
I think we
actually
have
are
to-
other communities, I've done some research, Kingman and Cheney both allow it after dark.
Okay.
The communities that are our size, Wichita I can see, I mean, why would you even allow them in the daytime, which, I mean, it's a, you know, it's a populous place. So, I feel like, you know, I see both sides. I use it as a tool, and you know, I don't want to fire my big diesel pickup up just to go get someone's laundry out of the washer, and so. Anyway.
See, if we pass this, you would be the one that goes by the rules, then there's everyone else that doesn't.
Exactly.
Right.
That's the problem.
That's part of my concern as well, is the ones that'll drive them to a drinking establishment. And
Now, that's the same rules as the motor vehicle. though.
It is.
If they drink it, I mean,
I
they
agree
can take their
100%.
motorcycle to.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
And I don't know why it is, but I have seen so many people on a golf cart with a beer, you know, like with an open container. And for some reason, the population has not grasped that, no, you can get a DUI for that.
And it rightfully so they should.
Yeah, I'm saying get DUI on a lawnmower in your front yard if you got a beer on it.
Yeah, on my front lawn.
Technically you can, it's a motorized vehicle.
Well, you know, Terry, I do agree, the electrical scooters and bikes, that's definitely, I do agree with Chief and Regina. We have to start doing something about that because like I said, I don't want a tragedy like happen in Leewood, you said, Chief?
Yeah, and actually, we've had a traffic accident here in town last week where a citizen was hit by, that was on one of those that was hit by a car.
So when you start regulating those, are you gonna regulate them all together or just at nighttime? The scooters?
I can't answer that till we draft an ordinance.
Yeah, because if you put a regulation on them, then you have kids that can't get to the pool, can't get to the library, because that's how they get to those kind of places. School.
Yeah.
And there is a statute ordinance that states on bicycles, after dark, they're required to have headlights and taillights.
But there's many that don't. And I see them pass by policemen all the time that just, they don't, nothing's happened. They go by my house all the time. So, I feel like if we're gonna crack down, it needs to be done, rather than just let it pass by. That's my opinion.
Well, we'll have discussions about it, Tim. We'll keep talking about it.
All right.
Trust me, allowing our citizens to be free while also giving them reasonable regulations is our goal. You know, and we're not trying to single out anybody. We want everybody to have as much freedom as possible, but also to be safe. And we have a collective obligation as a community to provide safety for each other as well.
Thank you, Terry.
Thanks, Terry.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to 6.9, consideration of closing an old credit card account. Alita Easton.
You see me over there?
Yes, you're good.
Okay.
when our original credit cards were opened through People's Bank, somehow they got opened as a nonprofit. And it has come to our attention that we are not a nonprofit, of course, we're a municipality, so we need to close that account. I have opened a new account as a municipality.
And you voted on that, right?
Yes.
Yes, and so in order to close the old account, the credit card company needs the minutes from the commission meeting saying that they approve for me to close that account. So that's the issue.
Is this your company, Monty, that you work for?
Actually, it's TCM.
Affiliated. I'm embarrassed that they require this.
So,
Okay.
so that's all I need is just you saying that.
Approval to close the old credit card account.
Okay.
Do you have an account number that needs to be referenced?
That's the account ending in 8649.
Okay. And it's TCM?
TCM.
Yes, that's not the full account
TCM
number.
Bank.
Like
TCM Bank.
XXX.
Do you want the whole account number?
No.
I don't think we want
Just the
that
last four.
publicly.
I got it up here.
I
And
know you
account
do.
number, what was it?
86.
8649.
8649.
Account ending in 8649.
Account ending 8649. I'll make a motion that we close an old credit card account from TCM Bank, account ending 8649.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we close down an old credit card account from TCM Bank, account ending 8649. Any other discussions?
I'm abstaining.
Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And
Thank
then
you
one
very much.
abstention passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, moving on to 6.10, consideration of curb and gutter funding requests for Cleveland Thompson Street. Mr. Shanline.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, this is a request for replacement and installation of new curb and gutter at Cleveland Street between Pine and Thompson. This is adjacent to the area that has been prone to flooding and extreme weather. I had EBH engineer Joel Kroschel and Jerry Starkey go out with me, and we did a site survey on that, and they came up with a oversized curb with a high back and large pan that will carry, in their estimation, at about 3 times the normal amount of volume for that area. And we believe that'll solve a lot of the problem with that flooding into that low area.
It'll solve a lot, but not all.
Well, we haven't had the rain after the fact yet, so we're still analyzing that. And as soon as we get large rains, every time it rains, I go by there. We haven't had it rain heavy enough.
Right, correct.
To see what that is.
And we're looking at other options too.
Yes, we're also discussing putting in some berm area around that, but that's separate from this bid. We did go out for several bids from local contractors, receiving only one bid back from a Roscoe and Son in the amount of $20,000 even. And that is for 260 linear feet of curb and gutter and the alley approach on the south side of Cleveland Street to increase the pitch angle of that so that the floodwaters don't crest over that, as reported for the residents there. So that is what I'm requesting at this time, is for 260 linear feet of curb and gutter and the alley approach re-pour by Roscoe and Son Concrete in the amount of $20,000, and that will come out of Special Street Fund 452407.
And could you just explain what is the special street fund?
That is the tax revenue fund that goes to the general fund that is specifically allocated to street, curb and gutter, and sidewalk repair.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
And in your opinion, 20,000 is a reasonable dollar amount for this work?
Based on previous work and the amount of square or linear footage and extra volume of pan, yes, this is very reasonable. I was hoping to get more bids, but.
So are they doing the catch basin too and the curb and gutter? Or this is just the curb and gutter?
They are doing the curb and gutter and the alley approach.
And the alley approach?
Yes.
I'd make a motion that we approve the funding request for the $20,000 curb and gutter replacement on Cleveland Street. from Orozco and Sun Concrete.
It's been moved in second that we approve the purchase approve the purchasing of redoing the curb and gutter funding request for Cleveland Thompson Street for a total of $20,000 from Orozco and Sun Concrete. Any other discussions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, perfect. All right, last thing is consideration of funding request for servers. Mr. Sean Cole, our new IT director.
Look at that, he's been with us a couple of weeks and he's asking for money on it.
Yeah, how about that?
But Jeremy Nelson is also here because he's gonna, he'll be heavily, he's been involved in the discussions,
Okay.
you know, both previous, and he's really good at the dispatch stuff.
Okay.
So we're requesting final approval for the purchase of hardware for the city's Proxmox virtualization cluster project. This project initially was started under the previous IT directors along with Jeremy Nelson and Echo IT Ops to evaluate alternatives for our current VMware virtualization server. And this was already evaluated and reviewed by the emergency board, and so we're just coming for approval. The main reason that we're doing this is that our current VMware software we have some substantial increase in licensing costs that is ongoing, and so we needed a virtualization platform that would continue to provide reliability and functionality without tying us to these increasing costs. Proxmox was selected because this is an enterprise level platform for this. It supports clustering so that if one piece of hardware goes down, these servers could be transferred to other computers so that they would continue to stay operating. This is to provide redundancy. And this was, many of these servers are for 911 services and dispatch services. So that would help to keep our uptime up so that we didn't have just a single point of failure. But the timing of this is also significant. Our VMware licensing is going to expire on August the 31st. And so this approval would help us to go ahead and to purchase hardware to have Proxmox installed as the VM solution, the virtual machine solution. So one of the advantages of Proxmox is that it doesn't have the ongoing licensing costs. This request is only for hardware. Proxmox also does offer support costs if we wanted to go that route, but it is substantially less expensive than VMware. And so the approval just will allow us to go ahead with that hardware purchase to keep that implementation on schedule. Since I've joined the city, I've kind of reviewed this proposal, and that even though that this was something that a previous IT director had put together, I support it, support moving forward with it. I've got prior hands-on experience with using Proxmox, and so I'm familiar and comfortable with using it. Also, we have Jeremy Nelson here this evening with us. He was involved with the initial evaluation of it and hardware design, and if you have any additional questions, he also could provide more information.
The system that we discussed at the emergency management meeting, Jeremy, that you were at, I mean, the system it's an interesting system because it's built-in redundancy, right? If you have a failure I'm not IT like you guys, so I don't know all of the words, but if you had a failure in one system, there were two redundant systems, and so one would pick up if one failed, it would go to the redundant system, and then you could replace the one that failed without any disruption, any emergency manager
Correct.
calls.
The idea, so, do I need to be up there, or can you hear me?
We should be able to hear you.
Yeah, we should be able to hear you.
Wonderful. So, it's a cluster, so it's a small cluster, we're putting three different physical servers together, where they're gonna work together and cooperate. There's been, recent history, there's been some lightning strikes at the PD that have taken down servers. And I don't wanna say disabled, but put the 911 in a behind the eight ball. So
Significantly.
the idea is put the three servers in. If we were to have some type of catastrophic event, lightning, weather, hardware failure on its own, we would still have two machines that would carry the weight, and our impact or our downtime would be negligible, if any. Trying not to get real technical here. So these are physical devices. The server, the operating system that 911 would interact with is called a virtual machine, and this virtual machine or machines would migrate, or we would migrate them in the case of a hardware failure with the minimal downtime. That's the idea behind it. And so if we did have a catastrophic failure on one, I don't know if I have to look at the design, but potentially even two machines, we would still have services available for 911 and the community.
Unfortunately, since the last lightning strike, 911 has had several glitches. They can't hear each other, or several instances where Christine said this is truly a safety issue. It's an officer safety issue, that they need to get the new hardware in. As far as the VMware, it's my understanding that what is currently being used was purchased by Motorola, and Motorola's costs are much higher, and that even though this cost for this hardware is an expensive cost, part of it will be covered by 911 funds. The two lightning strikes that we had 2 years in a row have depleted any reserves in 911 funds, so our 911 funds are tight. The county is going to share some of the cost as well. So
Once we move over, correct? Or are they sharing some of the costs now?
I believe that they're gonna share some of the cost for the hardware moving to the Proxmox
Okay.
system. And anyway, so it really is, it's a sheriff's department safety issue, it's a Pratt PD safety issue, and it's a 911 functionability issue. Also, if we don't move to this Proxmox, what that means necessarily is that we continue with the VM that we have, and then we pay higher licensing fees.
Correct.
Did I say that correctly, you guys?
Absolutely correct. So VMware was recently bought out by a third-party company. The costs for the city were negligible, or very small. Current cost for renewing the VM software piece is about $15,000 a year at ongoing, and whatever we're gonna be subject to for future price increases. Proxmox is an operating system that drives the virtual machines, the pieces that 911 would dispatch, or 911 dispatch would use, and that is an open source free software that is enterprise grade. So we're trying to eliminate that ongoing $15,000 a year plus cost.
Well, it sounds like this is something we definitely need to do, so. Bonnie, do you wanna, or Brad, or?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the funding request for the servers as directed by Sean.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the funding request for the servers from the Echo IT LLC and Jeremy Nelson for the total of $25,507.50. Any other discussions? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, there you guys go. Okay. All right, moving on now to open public comments. City matters only, 3-minute time limit. Public is allowed to speak on issues or items not scheduled for discussion on the agenda. Comments should be limited to issues and items germane to the business and governing body. Protect the privacy interests of individual employees and to avoid discussion of matters not appropriate for open session. Comments regarding hiring, discipline, performance, conduct, investigation, resignation, termination, and other employment statuses of any specific non-elected city employee will not be permitted during open comment. Speakers may address general city policies, practices, department operations, or service concerns, but not individual personnel matters. The commission will not discuss or debate these items, nor will the commission make decisions on items presented during this time. Members of the public are limited to 3 minutes for comments. Anyone from the audience? Oh, Tammy!
Tammy Coleman, I'm representing the Impact Group tonight. That's I'm their Meaningful Projects Coordinator. And what we are planning, September the 11th is a National Day of Service. And so on September the 12th, we are going to have a cleanup event. We are going to be staged at the corner of Fincham and 6th Street at the dental office there. And then we'll have volunteers who will be cleaning up Fincham Street, gathering garbage, and 6th Street down to Country Club Road. And I just wanted to make you aware that this event is happening and invite anybody who wants to participate to come out and help us for the day of service. And we're going to start at 7:30 in the morning on September the 12th.
And do you want some trash bins staged along there for pickup?
That would be nice.
Okay.
I don't know how many we're going to require. Huh?
Can you tell me the day of the week?
That's a Saturday.
Saturday.
Because September 11th is on a Friday and we just moved it to that Saturday.
I'll arrange for sanitation to get some staged along there.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, anyone else from the audience like to speak? Okay, that being said, we'll now move into reports. City Manager, Ms. Goff.
So I was out of the office last week visiting my child who moved to the West Coast recently in a military move, so I don't have a lengthy report. But what I did the prior week was Jamie and I had meetings with S&P and with Stiefel regarding the bond issuance, and Jamie really enjoyed that process and he'd like to do it again. I'm kidding. It was a very it was incredibly tedious. The other thing, I'm on the Kansas Municipal Utilities Board of Directors, and they had a meeting last Wednesday in McPherson that I attended, and there's just so much good networking and information, sharing. I do find Pratt's involvement in that to be incredibly beneficial. I also met with a representative from the Union Pacific Railroad. He came and he just shared with me their hopes that their merger is still in the feds.
The merger was denied the first go-around, wasn't
I
it?
believe it was, yeah. But he said that if the merger is approved this time, then they would be the first rail company in history that operates rails from coast to coast. That right now you've got a different rail company doing the East Coast, a different rail company doing the West Coast. Also, he said that if it goes through, they have a plan to increase the shoulder of the rail here in Pratt, which should help alleviate some of the train traffic, the trains crossing, blocking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes.
281, yeah, where our emergency services have had a hard time getting back and forth. So I thought that was interesting.
Okay. Well, I will say, I thought Jamie Hewer did a great job while you were gone. There was no...
Always do.
Right? We go on more often, I guess, is what we're...
Yeah, I mean,
No.
Yeah, pizza parties,
Yeah.
there were not,
No.
I'm teasing.
So, all right, any other questions for Regina? All right, thank you, Regina. All right, Public Works, Mr. Shamlin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Covenant and the water crew have completed the installation of the water lines out at the point. That ditch is all backfilled, and they're currently doing pressure testing, chlorine disinfection on that line, so they are wrapping that up very quickly. Wastewater has transitioned into the southeast corner of town with maintenance and are quickly getting through all of that. They are going to go back around and hit what we call the trouble spots after they have completed the full town's maintenance, just to double down on areas that we have had concern with. We had a sewer backup on the 100 block of Stout Street, reported no damage at that. Blockage was cleared very quickly, and the resident said they only had a small splashing of water in their basement. Quick cleanup, no problem. Street department has been out all last week with their asphalt recycler patching holes all over town and through Lemon Park. Currently, they have a large array of thermal crackings over from Southwest that I believe they're getting ready to mill out and start patching those in. Parks Department removed 3 trees at Lemon Park by the west gazebo. And then next week they are going, or this week, they're going in May Dennis to remove, I believe Danny said 13 trees on the east side of the drainage ditch. So sanitation and cemetery, nothing to report. Everybody's just keeping busy and beating the heat. We did receive the trash truck.
Perfect.
Wednesday of last week. So far, everything appears to be fine on it. Nothing, no issues. I've got with Dean Simon, we have the lease agreement on my desk. It just needs to be looked over and signed, and then we'll finish that process.
Okay.
Public Works, the 400 block of South Main Alley is complete. That'll have to the end of this week for the concrete to cure, and then we can open that back up. Storm box repair at Oak and 6th was completed by Roscoe, and I'm currently working on the cost share grant for the 6th Street extension again for the fall application.
Did somebody run over that storm block?
Yes.
Okay.
There was another drain hit recently too that has cones up. Is it by the municipal building?
That one's being
Jackson?
repaired by street department. Yes. The one that's at Oak and 6th that was poured back extra thick with reinforcing steel. So that one shouldn't be a problem ever again. And that's all I got.
Any word on well 6 or anything like the movement wise?
Yes, survey is going to be complete by the end of this week. We have Westoff Plumbing going in there to trace out 2 of the laterals on High Street, so we know where those residential laterals go in case we have to move those. Per the state, we can't have anything in that 100-foot radius, including residential laterals. But after we get that survey completed, then we can see if we can move forward with moving well.
And then when's the Maple Street Bridge close?
We have pre-construction meeting the 18th, tomorrow?
Mhm.
Yes, tomorrow. And then that will determine when that project kicks off. I believe it's supposed to be end of month.
Okay, perfect, awesome. Any other questions for Jeff? Okay, building inspector, Mr. Walker or Mr. Shamline?
Mr. Shanline.
Okay.
Since the last council meeting, I've been training with Robert, and we've completed 1 roof inspection, 2 electrical inspections, 7 concrete inspections, 0 sewer this time. Issued 7 mowing letters, 2 tree letters, tree removal or maintenance letters. Designated 3 nuisance properties that'll be ongoing, and got a lot of the work done to prepare for 2 dangerous structures, which will then progress through the process to get those removed most likely next year.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yes.
So what is your name?
John Shanline.
Okay. Are you
Any relation?
Yeah, his oldest brother.
Okay.
He's a transfer over from power plant.
He's been working with Robert the last,
Week.
just last week.
And you're taking over as building inspector.
I'm designated interim. I think there still needs to be an interview process to go.
Okay. All right, any other questions for John? Okay, thank you, sir. All right, electrical department, Mr. Huber.
Let me start with the bond. If you've never experienced going through a bond process and/or a federal grant, then you're missing out. Those are two things in my career that I wish I would have never been a part of. There was a lot. So, no, actually, I'm really happy the way it all turned out. We're still, Chris Negley is the engineer on our project, which is also the substation project, the power plant, and our automation. So a lot of things are going on. If you've driven by 10th Street where the power plants are going, there's the line department's still putting pipe in the ground, and they may be for several more weeks. There's a lot to it. So we've got the area where the cat will sit. That area is done. We're just waiting on concrete crews now to come in and get that started. We're almost done with where the control house will be. When that does, and they can pour concrete over that, and then we'll start building a building over it. But then they're gonna have to trench from that up to the substations, and it'll take a while, but it won't look like what it does now. So really, it's all production, just kind of normal maintenance stuff right now. We got through all our testing for the year, so.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we've kind of neglected some of the maintenance outside, and so they were on that a whole lot last week. And really, just the high energy uses right now going on. So we've been, and it's normal, but we haven't really seen that many consecutive days in the hundreds. So
Right.
People are gonna pay for it. They think they're not using it anymore, but in reality, everybody's using just.
I agree. I mean, but this is just the worst time of the year. This is when the heat comes.
It happens
so.
every year. Every year at this time, you start getting complaints.
Yeah.
I've never had this bill as high. Well, if we look back last year and, oh, there it was.
Yeah.
You were actually higher last year than you were this year, so. It is what it is. And like I said, I kind of freaked out last week when we got our bill. So, like I said, I made a bunch of phone calls and put to ease on that. So, no. The cost of energy was the same. It's just you guys bought more, used more. So.
Well, and Jamie, I appreciate too, you guys keeping, not having any brownouts or blackouts or anything. I know there's some parts of the state that they're dealing with some of that. So you guys are.
And we've never really experienced that like other parts of the
Yeah.
country. And part of putting these generators in is for that reason.
Yeah.
If that would come, if somehow or another the grid have shut it down, I mean, we're not gonna put our customers in the dark.
No.
So, no way.
There was a power outage, I think, over the weekend. Was that just because of a
I think
storm?
there was one today, actually.
There was one today, it should have been
Ohio
resolved.
Street.
Yeah, and it transforms.
Okay.
They're starting to overheat. They're just not getting enough time to cool down. So we had Love's trip off here last, I don't know, kind of messed up. Maybe it's a week ago or so. And we'll kind of find out the electricians that were working in there that weren't there, were there working on it. So they won't fess up to why and how it tripped, but we kind of point the finger there. So.
Got it.
But it's up and going. I think that project for Lowe's is about done, so hopefully. Other than that, I really don't have anything else for you.
Perfect. Awesome. Any other questions for Jamie? All right. Thank you for keeping the city running when Gina was gone.
I tried my best.
All right.
It's not that difficult.
Yeah.
That's why you got yourself off that board of directors and got me on.
Yeah, experience things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing that one no more. So.
All right, rec department, Mr. Crouch.
Thank you, Mayor. Fall sports signups are live. We got flag football, volleyball, and soccer in the fall, and then co-ed and women's volleyball for adult stuff. The point drawings got pushed back a little bit, a couple days, so we expect those next week for all the construction documents, and then hope to go out to bid here the first part of September. We're still doing the improvements at Lemon Park, ball fields, and good in Dickerson, press boxes, batting cages, dugouts. We're getting those projects wrapped up as quick as we can because PCC softball starts next Monday, their fall season. So full season's going well. As you aware, we've transitioned to weekend hours plus adult swim. And And then we have pool parties almost every night from now until the end of the season. I think we're at like 14 of the next 18 nights, something like that, pool parties.
Nice.
So, getting good use out of it. Just a little tidbit for Tiffany, the concert is this Friday. Right now, it's currently at Green Sports Complex. It's full house, starts at 8 o'clock. Gates open, I think it's 7. So if you're looking for something to do Friday night, come out to the concert at Green Sports Complex. That's all I got.
Perfect. Any questions for Justin? All right, thanks, sir. All right, IT department, Mr. Sean Toll, anything else?
Nothing really to report. Just getting a handle on things and keeping things running.
All right, well, we appreciate you coming aboard. So, all right. Okay, anything for Sean on IT? Okay, all right. Robert, I would just like to say personally,
No announcements have been made.
okay, never mind, sorry. I'll shut up now. All right, Alita, anything for finance department? Okay, anything for Alita? Okay. I apologize. Okay. Police department, Chief Wright.
Well, due to the harassment I received at the beginning of this meeting, maybe I should stand for mine. No, just in the last 2 weeks, the department's taken 451 calls for service, conducted 96 traffic stops, worked 2 traffic accidents. I don't think that was correct. Had 6 misdemeanor charges, 4 felonies, with 1 arrest. Assisted EMS fire 7 times, and conducted 32 VIN inspections. Also in that time, the in-car cameras that I was told would not ship until the end of September, beginning of October, arrived 4 days after I placed the order.
Wow.
Wow.
So, take that. We did conduct an interview. We had one that canceled. We have sent out an offer to that applicant at this time for one of the positions we have open. Hopefully hear back from them by the 28th. We did have 2 officers that attended a train the trainer for instructors for de-escalation techniques so they can train our in-house people. Let's see. We did conduct a couple of drug search warrants as well in the last couple weeks. We did have some car burglaries again. We did have a stolen vehicle. We think it's just those 3. The stolen vehicle was recovered within about 2 blocks of where the burglaries occurred, so I'm guessing same person. We've been canvassing with checking ring doorbells, and the new Bus Barnes camera system is quite nice, so we've been checking it as well.
Do you think these are the same burglars that robbed that lady that had her car on 54, or do you think that's somebody different? Or I saw her car battery got stolen or something out of her car.
I guess I didn't see that.
Okay.
That may be
County.
Yeah.
I think that's the county.
Okay, that was the county. Okay, my apologies.
But the vehicle was recovered over in the 5th and Washington area. Let's see. First day of school, Southwest, we had 5 officers out there just kind of meet and greeting the kids, handing out some stickers and pencils and high-fiving, welcoming them back. Getting the officers' faces out there again, so that went over well. I received a report from the Humane Society. I have no idea what you guys want on that report, so I'm gonna fake it till you tell me otherwise. They had 11 animals in, they had 12 go out. They gave out 54 bags of food to the community between cat and dog food, and they had 15 surrender attempts. And it looks like there's about 4 pages of injections that were given to animals. I don't know what all that stuff means, so if you guys want something else out of there, tell me and I'll make it happen. But
No, that's good.
This was from July 11th to August 11th.
Okay, perfect. All right. Anything else for Chief Wright? Okay, keep up the good work, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Fire Department, Chief Hoffman.
Thank you, Your Honor. Didn't have anything major. Past few weeks, had a few CO calls and dropped cell phones, which got called in as vehicle accidents. Of course, once they drop a phone, it automatically sends a signal to dispatch that there's a possibility for a wreck. So, been out investigating those, find out they're just dropped phones. But other than that, like I say, CO calls, had a few of those. and then vehicle accidents, just stop and checking on those. August 27th, we'll be out at PCC, doing that with the presenting Pratt. We'll have a booth set up out there to kind of welcome some of the other kids back into the college out there. And then on September the 13th, I've got 5 or 6 of us that'll be doing the stair climb over in Wichita for 9/11, so participating in that. So other than that, that's about all I've got.
How's the door coming along in the garage?
They're still waiting for the door to show up.
Okay.
When I hear from Cheney Door, then we'll get the other 2 together. Once they make that cut, they won't make the cut unless the mason's there to grab the brickwork and get that brickwork started. So
Okay,
should be coming up towards the end of this month. So.
perfect. Awesome. Any questions for Chief Hoffman? Okay, perfect. City prosecutor,
How we doing tonight?
doing good.
All right. City, the prosecution, it's going well. We got the new Jayhawk software we're going through. We're getting it all coded right so it syncs over. Been talking with Gina about some back due fines and seeing if we can get a system set up, get a collection agency in on that so we can start collecting some stuff that has been paid in a while. And we're really clearing out some stuff that's just been sitting around for a while and no movement on it. So working forward on that.
Perfect, awesome. Any other questions for Sean? All right, thank you, sir. All right, Tara, anything from your end on finances or anything?
No, we will be doing the budget hearing September 7th, 8th, whatever that
September
Monday
the
is.
8th, yeah.
That Monday, that meeting is Tuesday. That's Tuesday.
Yeah,
It's
Tuesday.
a Tuesday because
Monday's
of the holiday.
Labor Day.
Yeah.
Probably should move that in my calendar. So that's the main thing coming up is just getting the budget hearing done and approved for the next year. So.
And I do want to point out, I'm very proud that we are revenue neutral. So again, I know people got their tax statements over the last couple of weeks. And again, the city did not raise their mill levies at all for 2027. So again, appreciate all your guys' hard work on that. So, all righty. Anything else for Tara? Okay, perfect. All right. City Clerk, Ms. Gardner.
As Jamie stated, and you've seen on social media, we had a very busy day with customers. I think the Facebook stuff kind of stirred up concerns from those who may not have had those inklings, but in most situations we're able to explain and come to an understanding that the city didn't raise their electric bill. But if I continue to get complaints, I'm going to send all the phone calls to Jamie. But in all seriousness, it's everybody's bills went up slightly for electricity, and it's quite frankly the weather.
Yeah.
I have a smart AC unit that shows me my usage, and my usage this July was significantly higher than last July, and my usage was 200 hours higher than June. So it's unfortunately that we're experiencing this right now, but we're gonna get through it together.
Yeah, we don't want to leave out water though.
Water, yes. Yeah, that has been a challenge. I'll send some calls to Kelvin. That'll go well.
Well, and tomorrow's not going to look great. It's going to be 105 tomorrow, so.
Yeah.
And so the weather is hot, and
Yeah.
people's their tempers are flaring. But the public discourse and the nastiness towards our employees
Yes.
is really disheartening. The ladies up front work very, very hard, and when customers come in yelling and screaming and cussing, and they're riled up on Facebook without asking the questions, what was my usage? Brianna could pull it up. Any of the front office staff can pull up how much electricity was used last year, how much electricity was used this year. Also, did the rates change? Because they haven't. And so instead of people being so ugly to our employees, these are human beings and they are working hard and they are serving the public. And we have had people leave city employment this year because of the Facebook nonsense. And so I would really implore the public to have conversations with city staff in a cordial way, and we will share all the information that we have with you, but please don't come into the front office and yell at the employees in the front.
I completely agree with you. I mean, you guys are doing the best you can for the city, and I mean, we cannot control the weather. We can't control certain things, and unfortunately, people think we can, but we can't, so.
We've discussed talking points, meter, inspections and things like that. We discuss histories with people. We try to identify, somebody will come in and say, this is the highest bill I've ever had, and we look at the history and that is not accurate. 90% of the Facebook comments that were on there, I checked all of their bills, and 9 out of 10 of them were inaccurate statements. They would say my bill went up $100, over last month, inaccurate, which actually mine did. Mine personally did. It went up $100 because my kids have been home this whole summer for the first time ever. So my bill is, anyway, if people would just have a conversation with us and ask us questions instead of coming to assumptions, we can walk them through what is going on and possibly help them attempt to reduce their consumption. Because we do have a lot of suggestions. We've even been mailing out little flyers to some of the people that have had higher consumption than usual. And we also go out of our way. We have Crystal audits as many bills as she can. We have 4,000 bills. She audits those to try to identify anyone that might have a possible leak. And we've even gotten yelled at from a customer for sending them a possible leak tag, because we are trying to do our best to help you identify issues. And so just a general statement that we are working very hard to try to facilitate, good services, and we're doing the best we can, and we're trying to be nice about it.
How many of our customers, Bree, have taken up the opportunity to do the average monthly bill, after they lit?
Well, there's some challenges with that, because the previous city clerk's policy was that they had to be enrolled in auto draft, and to be quite frank, the people that would truly benefit from the average monthly payment are lower income status households, and they can't usually sign up for an auto draft that has a payment coming out at a specified date. They would prefer to control when that payment comes out. So I have been discussing the possibility of changing those policies to open it up a little bit further, but the challenges with that is that if you sign up for average monthly payment today, and so your average is $300, but your actual bill for this month was $550, then you're already starting in a deficit in this program. If you go off services in 2 months, then you likely are going to have an additional $300 bill added to your final bill for that month that you didn't actually pay your bill. So there's a lot of factors that weigh into this, and I'm trying to find a solution that benefits the people that truly need it, while also, not jeopardizing our financial situation and bad debt and things like that. So there's a lot going on.
No, but that shows your dedication on helping our lower income people.
I think it's a good point that Brianna looked at all of those comments and looked up the bills, and the statements made on social media were inaccurate. And
There was very few that were actual concrete statements where, yes, the bill did go up this amount or whatever. Most of them, so I think, I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent here, but I think what people sometimes, I've recently lived in another city, and so has some of my family, and people automatically assume that our bills are higher. You can have an argument about property taxes where I may agree with some of it because of our lower population in this county than others. But I have done analysis after analysis. Anytime we have this type of uproar, we have lower water than all the surrounding cities in this area. I went to every single one of their accounts and pulled their rates and created a formulated Excel sheet that will tell you exactly what you would pay if you lived in Medicine Lodge, Goddard, Kingman, wherever. City of Pratt has lower rates than any of those communities around us. Goddard is the next one closest to us. Everybody else is higher. The problem is, in Pratt, all of our bills are put into one umbrella with the City of Pratt, and so it's automatically I saw a Medicine Lodge person commented and said, I'm only paying $200 for my electric. Well, if you break down someone's $500 bill, it may be $250 electric, $100 water, and $20 trash. And so we're not comparing apples to apples when we're making these statements. So that's why I'm very happy to go into detail with anyone who would like to bring their bills in and have a conversation and look at their historical data, because I can set the record straight and, like I said, find opportunities to potentially help them. There's even some state programs where you can better insulate your home with government funding, with some grants if you qualify, especially for low-income people. But that's not usually what Facebook is for. Facebook is for validations for your emotional concerns, and nobody actually calls us to find a solution. They want someone on their bandwagon with them. I would love for them to call me.
You're allowed one tangent every 3 months.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about it because I'm also paying a higher bill, but I, after working here, understand why I'm paying a higher bill. And that's because my kids were home more this summer than they've ever been because of their ages.
Good job.
All right.
Sorry.
No, anything else?
I'm
No,
sorry.
you don't need to apologize. You're fine. Hey.
Jamie's mad at me.
No, I'm not, but I'll add to that, there's rumors that city employees get discounts on electric and water on this. That's not true. We pay just like the
I missed out on it for 16 years.
Absolutely.
Sorry, Brad.
I wanna make that,
My electric alone was $415. Electric by itself.
There's some users that have no idea how much water they actually use. When you tell them by the unit and tell them how many gallons that actually is, it blows them away.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and
watering 2 or 3 times a
yes.
day.
And I've had to have those conversations recently. The average household uses 10 units of water a month. If you are using over that, you are using excessive water in your household. If you go anywhere else across the country, you are likely going to pay a fortune for those excessive use units. Here in Pratt, it's $2.95 per unit. After 20. So we still have a reasonable priced water system currently.
Okay, well, as I said.
Sorry.
Nope, you're fine. The only thing I have is 2 things. Is one, we do have an executive session for attorney-client privilege after this. But the big thing is for my report is if you got commissioners, I'm assuming you guys are fine with it, but I want to bring this up. So last Friday, the back-to-school bash had to be canceled due to a storm and everything. So the school planned on doing the back-to-school bash this Friday. I told David Swank I don't think you need to show up, but I assume that you guys, we already approved of it. Are you guys okay? Okay. Okay, I'll just tell them that we're okay with it, that we can still close off 3rd Street for Friday from 7 to 8:30. So perfect. Other than that, though, I have nothing else. Commissioner Osteller? Nothing. Commissioner Myers? Commissioner Siemens? Commissioner Blankenship? Okay, with that, we'll go into executive session for attorney-client privilege. Regina, how long do you think? I would at least like a little bit of a relief break really quick, and then we'll, yeah. Regina?